Are you thinking about maybe making a change this year of 2024? Maybe you're thinking about moving to the Atlanta area. Maybe you're thinking about moving to the north side and you need help trying to decide where on the north side of Atlanta you should move to. I have lived in the North Metro Atlanta area my entire life, so I know this area very well. And so today I'm going to be telling you about my top 5 picks when it comes to cities in the North Metro Atlanta area that you should consider moving to in the year 2024. And stick around for number 5. It's probably the most interesting of the pick. Can't wait to tell you about it. Hey, I'm Rip Pruitt, lovingly known as Rip the Realtor, and you guessed it, I am a realtor right here in the Metro Atlanta area, and my channel is all about real estate and life here in the ATL. So don't forget to subscribe and reach out if you're thinking about moving to the Atlanta area. All right, let's jump right into it. First one I'm going to talk about, these are no in particular order. These are my top 5, but just because I'm saying number 1 doesn't mean it's my top pick. But number 1, Alpharetta. All right, there's a few reasons I chose Alpharetta. 1, the shopping. It's got awesome shopping. One of our favorite spots, Avalon. It's one of those cool, fancy outdoor malls. You can always see a couple of Ferraris sitting on the curb shopping. Unfortunately, neither one of those Ferraris you may see are mine, but my wife especially loves Christmas time there. They have an outdoor skating rink right there in the middle. Yeah, I know, outdoor ice skating rink in Georgia, but believe it or not, we got it. It's just got this great vibe, this Christmas vibe. There's lights all around it. There's an outdoor fireplace to keep warm when you're not skating. You can get hot chocolate, and just a short walk to one of the shops is a place called Cafe Intermezzo. Has amazing coffee, amazing dessert. It's just a great experience. Really anytime going shopping, but especially around that Christmas time. There's also some super cool shopping downtown Alpharetta. There's some cute little boutiques, some cool restaurants with a lot of character. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to park downtown Alpharetta, but there's also options to live downtown Alpharetta. I will say that area is getting very expensive to live in. You may have missed the curve. Property values have gone up significantly around that Avalon area and that downtown Alpharetta area, but both are very cool spots and give you different vibes depending on what you're looking for. Another cool thing about Alpharetta is they have the Ameris Bank Amphitheater. So there's some great bands that come through there, some great artists who come through, play. Obviously, it's an outdoor amphitheater, so it's got a cool vibe going on there, but you can catch some really good concerts there. Just another thing to put in your hat for things to do in Alpharetta. So on top of great shopping, on top of things to do, going to the amphitheater, another reason I really like Alpharetta is its location. So it is conveniently located to Georgia 400, which is a major highway, runs right through Alpharetta. Now you can take Georgia 400 and go south, and less than 30 minutes, you're in the heart of Atlanta to enjoy all the things that the city has to offer. And if you go about 30 minutes north, now you can get to the lake, you could get to some of the North Georgia mountains. So it just sits in this very cool, unique spot where you've got the conveniences of city and conveniences of the outdoor life all within about 30 minutes. Also, you pretty much can't go wrong with any of the schools in Alpharetta. All the schools seem to be great. For the most part, they all have A's, grade A's from niche.com. Just great schools. So you can't go wrong for that, which makes it a great area to raise a family or for a family to live. Now, because of all these things, because of the great shopping, the great location, the great schools, all these things, obviously property values, you're going to have to pay for it. So the average home there in Alpharetta is a little bit more expensive. It's creeping up on $700,000. It's right about $676,000 for average price of a home in Alpharetta. So you're going to pay for all those cool little conveniences, but that's some of the reasons why Alpharetta hit my chart of my top 5 areas to live north of Atlanta. All right, my number 2 pick of top 5 cities north metro Atlanta is going to be Cumming. Now, Cumming, Georgia is my alma mater. It's where, for the most part, I grew up. up. Most of my childhood was spent in North Cumming. Back then, it was very rural. In fact, I grew up on a big horse farm, so I had a lot of baling hay, cleaning horse stalls, scooping manure, all the fun stuff of living on a farm. As a kid, I hated it. As an adult, I wish I still had it. But let's talk about Cumming and where it was versus where it's become. Because for me, when I was in high school there were only 2 high schools. And so I drove about 30 minutes to high school. So it wasn't very convenient. Whereas now, I'm not even sure how many high schools they have. 6, 7, 8 high schools. I'm not sure, but it's definitely more than 2 now. In fact, when I was growing up there, shopping was very scarce. For the most part, we drove to Gwinnett Mall, which back then there was not easy roads to get over there quickly. So you're talking about at least a 45-minute drive to get to the mall. Otherwise, we would shop at a store called Ramey's. And I actually went to school with some of the Ramey's kids, were friends with some of the Ramey's kids, but it was a store where I would go get my Husky Lee jeans. Yep, that's right. Believe it or not, I was not a petite child, so I had to get the Husky jeans. There was one other store there called Parsons. It's a little more frou-frou. My mom liked shopping there. But other than those 2, there was not a lot of available shopping there. Now, on the flip side, when you look at Cumming, you've got this cool new hip shopping area called Halcyon that's on the south side of Cumming. Just a little bit further north is the Forsyth Collection, which is similar to that Avalon vibe I spoke about earlier, where it's the big outdoor mall, great stores, restaurants peppered in there. And then just a little bit further north, you have Marketplace, which is this road that goes down the middle of all these stores. Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Costco. There's restaurants down there, shopping centers. So it's your kind of more commercialized shopping, whereas you might find a little bit cooler, hip, more trendy shops at Halcyon and Forsyth Collection. You can't talk about Cumming without talking about the Cumming Fairgrounds. This is an area, several acres, that the city has taken and has developed into a fairground. So you have the Cumming Fair there that's every year that it is packed. Now, if you go to the Cumming Fair on the wrong night at the wrong hour, meaning a weekend night at a prime time, you might get to ride 1, 2 rides in a span of 4 hours. That's how crowded it gets. But it's an awesome fair. There's also there's 4th of July parades and fairs that happen there. You can catch concerts there. So there's a number of events that take place at the Cumming Fairgrounds. Just a great place to experience, a lot of fun. The other must mention when it comes to Cumming, no pun intended, is Lake Lanier. Now, you may have seen a lot of things out on social media. There's like a documentary. I think there's actually a dramatic horror type movie now based on Lake Lanier who says it's haunted. I grew up on Lake Lanier. I learned how to ski on that lake, how to wakeboard on that lake, how to do all lake sports on that lake, and I have never been grabbed or pulled down by the Lady of the Water. So you do need to be careful on that lake though, because there's a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, and a lot of crazy acting people. But overall, the lake is tons of fun, and a huge part of Lake Lanier is located within the Cumming city limits. Now, when it comes to real estate, Cumming is going to be a little bit further with your money. So meaning you're probably about $100,000 on average cheaper, whereas Alpharetta's average home price is right around that $676,000 average price. Cumming is around $575, $576. So it is going to go further. Also, the other unique opportunity of real estate in Cumming is you can choose to live in a master planned neighborhood where there's amazing amenities and there are homeowners associations that keep the homes looking beautiful, or you can go in a more rural area of Cumming and get acreage and live on a small homestead if you want to do that. So Cumming kind of offers both of those, because though Cumming is getting developed very quickly and there's a lot of development going on, there's still a lot of areas that has not been developed and a lot of rural areas that you can take advantage of in Cumming as well. Coming in on my list at number 3 in no special order is Suwanee, Georgia. You've probably heard me talk about Suwanee because I live right on the line of Suwanee and Duluth, so I get to enjoy the advantages of both of those cities. Suwanee, much like Alpharetta, is great schools. They are known for having some amazing schools in Suwanee. Pretty much you can't go wrong with any of them. Lots of families are drawn to Suwanee. That is one of the reasons my family that we moved up to this area was because of the schools. So that is definitely a big attractor for the city of Suwanee, are the schools. There's also some great retail areas in Suwanee. You may not have any of the big malls or the big outdoor malls, but there's tons of shopping centers. Everything feels new in Suwanee. It doesn't really feel like any of the buildings are old. Suwanee Town Green has a lot of cool shops right around, a few kind of boutique-y type clothes shops, lots of restaurants around there. There's a coffee shop in there, a tea spot. So just pretty eclectic shopping, dining around Suwanee Town Green. And the way it runs is then you have this big green space out in the middle. So they'll utilize that for different festivals. They've got a small outdoor stage there, so they'll have smaller concerts there. Right across the road from that is a brewery. So there's actually a few breweries in Suwanee. So a few cool things going on in Suwanee when it comes to retail. It may not offer as much as Cumming or Alpharetta, but still strong retail shopping, and it has everything you need. Even though it may be a little limited on shopping, there's still all the conveniences of your day-to-day shopping, such as grocery stores, pharmacies. There's great restaurants. One of our go-to favorite Mexican restaurants, Hacienda, is right there. It's located right next to one of our favorite grocery stores, Fresh Market. In fact, my wife and I joke around that when we go to Fresh Market, that's our date night. Just a very chill store. The atmosphere is great, music playing. They do little free samples of coffee that my wife and I always take advantage of. And so sometimes we just like to get a cup of coffee and just walk around. It's just a nice place to shop. You're not going to get as cheap a deal there as you would at a Kroger or a Publix, but it's going to be a pleasant experience. You're going to be able to get some fresh foods, fresh prepared foods. Just a great place, and Suwanee's got some great areas for shopping like that. Suwanee, also a big one for me, location. It's a great location. It's not too far from Lake Lanier like we talked about, though Suwanee, no part of the city is actually on Lake Lanier, but it's close. You're not too far from the mountains. You're also located close to Interstate 85. That's a major interstate. You can quickly jump on that and get to the city quick. It can get pretty trafficy on 85, but then there's little tricks like the Peach Pass, which I have, which is you're paying a few bucks to be able to get into the express lane and pass all those suckers that are just sitting still. I love it. It's definitely worth it if you travel somewhat regularly in the city, especially because they only charge you by the use, not on just a monthly charge. But so yeah, the location of Suwanee, super convenient, super easy. The real estate in Suwanee are fairly reflective of what they are in Cumming. So they're still a little bit cheaper than Alpharetta, but they're along the same lines as Cumming. So you're going to be just under $600,000, right around $575,000 is going to be the average home price. But I will say that home values are continuing to rise in Suwanee. We saw a slight rise in the FMLS, our listing service for Metro Atlanta area here. I think it was around 5 or 6%, whereas Suwanee, we were seeing rise about 17 to 18%. So you're seeing home values go up, still affordable on the high side, but who knows how long that's going to last until it starts to become a little unaffordable. All right, coming in at number 4 is Duluth. Duluth sits right next to Suwanee. My house sits right on the line of Duluth and Suwanee. That's why I say I get to enjoy both of those cities. Duluth is another great city in Gwinnett County, but you're going to find a little bit lower home prices. So average home price for Duluth is right just over $400,000, around $418,000, creeping up to $420,000. Duluth is interesting because there are parts of the city that are very expensive. There are some country club neighborhoods that are in the 7 figures, and then you have some older parts of Duluth, maybe some not as convenient locations or areas that are not as highly desired, where you can still find a lot more affordable housing in Duluth. So you've got a lot of new development in Duluth, and you also have a lot of development that is pretty old. Now that also gives us downtown Duluth has a lot of history. The train tracks run right through it, so there's a lot of history with that. Super cool restaurants downtown, ice cream shops, brewery. It has another town green as well with a fountain. Kids love to go run around playing that in the summertime. There's a small stage there where they have outdoor concerts. Just a very cool vibe is in downtown Duluth. You also have living downtown Duluth. There's some townhomes as well as some single family homes that you can walk to. But just like any cool, vibrant downtown area, the homes that are in walking distance of that are generally going to be a little bit more expensive. And you're going to find exactly that around downtown Duluth. But it's worth it. If it's affordable to you, it's worth it. It's a great area to be close to. There's always something going on with downtown Duluth. One of my favorite events during the summer is Food Truck Fridays. It's just like it sounds. Tons of food trucks come in downtown Duluth, park all over downtown Duluth, and and now you can sample whatever you want. It does get crowded, just like any other cool event, but it's still cool enough to go and experience. Even though there's new development and old development, there's always something going on. And so even recently, the mall that I referenced earlier, Gwinnett Mall, that I used to go to as a kid, it used to be the mall to go to. It was the coolest mall around. It has slowly over the years done exactly opposite of that. There was at one point a dead body found in the mall. Days after, there were some scenes that were filmed there for the TV show Stranger Things, to give you an idea. So the mall has gone downhill. So recently, the county has purchased that whole area. It's a huge area, and they are redoing it. They're redeveloping it. They're doing some restaurants. They're going to have some places to live. They're going to have some business development. So they're really taking that on and redeveloping that. So that's a great area where houses are still not that expensive, but once this development happens, they probably will be. So good area to keep your eye on. Right there at Gwinnett Mall is also Pleasant Hill Road is what the mall is located off of, and that's a large exit off I-85. A lot of business happens off that exit, a lot of crazy traffic off that exit. They've tried to figure it out. Now it's a little confusing. If you're not used to it, you're going to get off that exit and there's going to be lanes that are coming at you that cross over and you might freak out a little bit, but just follow the lanes, focus what's in front of you. You'll make it, I promise. You also have Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. That can take you into the city and that can take you north of the city, as well as Buford Highway. Major road goes right into the city and also goes far north out of the city. So there's a lot of conveniences when it comes to Duluth. Out of all four of those cities that I've mentioned, you're going to find the most diversity in Duluth. Cultural, food-wise, all that good stuff. In fact, one of my favorite restaurants, Korean barbecue, the Honey Pig, is located in Duluth. So you're going to find all kinds of different varieties of food, be able to taste and experience different cultures in Duluth. So that's another huge pro for me when it comes to Duluth, is just that diversity that you get in there. And final top 5 cities to move to in the North Metro Atlanta area is a little bit of my curveball, which is Buford. Not that Buford's not a great city to live in. When it comes to those other cities, Buford may not be the first one that comes to mind. Here's why I put Buford out. There's a few reasons. One of my top reasons, schools. People from miles around, outside states, cities, move to Buford for the schools. One of the biggest reasons, Buford schools are city ran instead of county ran. Most all schools around here in Georgia are ran by the county. When it comes to Buford, which sits in Gwinnett County, they are ran by the city. So they can make decisions easier, quicker. I almost think of that whole illustration of you've got the big tanker ship in the ocean, and when it makes a turn, it takes it a while to turn, and then you've got the speedboat that when it makes a decision, it can turn a lot quicker. That's kind of the difference between a big county school like Gwinnett County or a smaller city ran school like Buford City Schools. Now, if you go to the schools, especially the high school, the campus is incredible. It looks like a college campus. In fact, it rivals a lot of smaller college campuses. It was just rebuilt a couple of years ago. Everything is phenomenal, beautiful about the school. The sports are hard to compare just because Buford sports does very well. Their football, their baseball, their wrestling, all those sports, they're very strong, very competitive in that. So when it comes to Buford, the first thing that comes to mind is school. Next that comes to mind, again, location is great. Part of Buford also sits on Lake Lanier, so you can enjoy that. It's interesting, you kind of have two parts to Buford. You have kind of the old historic area of Buford, which they have a great downtown there. There's some great restaurants. One of my favorite steakhouse restaurants is downtown Buford. Bare Bones has a lot of history. They have different things in the restaurant, like I believe the basketball goal is still like 100 years old. So there's a lot of rich history in downtown Buford, older homes. Then you've got the Mall of Georgia side of Buford, which is incredibly developed. Tons of developed there. Mall of Georgia is one of the biggest malls in Georgia. It may still be the biggest mall in Georgia. I'm not sure. And there's just restaurants. Top Golf is over there. Mario Andretti's is over there. Tons of stuff to do. On the Mall of Georgia side, you've got Interstate 85, which makes it super convenient. On the old side of Buford, you've got Interstate 985. So Buford is just cool mix of old history, rich part of Buford, and non-stop development going on part of Buford. But again, between the conveniences of shopping, restaurants, and schools, you can see why this is making my top 5 list. Now, I would say out of those 5 cities, Buford is probably one of the furthest from the city as far as Atlanta goes. Cumming would probably be next, but Buford is a little bit further out. So it is one of the furthest out of the top 5 cities that I've mentioned. And home values are a little bit more affordable there at Buford too. They're coming in right around the mid 400s. So average home price is right around $458,000. So still a little bit lower than some of those other cities, a little bit higher than Duluth, but overall a great choice for bringing a family there just because of the cost homes versus the schools being excellent. So if you're thinking about moving to the Atlanta area, give me a call. So tell me what you thought. Do you agree with my top 5 cities of the North Metro Atlanta area, or do you have one you like better? Let me know. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Love y'all. Bye-bye.